plave janmarksha yoge samaveta yoshitam vaditra gita dvijamantra vachakais chakara sunor abhishechanam sati sheshukam vacha kadachit authanika kautuka plave janmarksha yoge samaveta yoshitam vaditra gita dvijamantra vachakai chakara sunor abhishechanam sati. Shri Shukavacha, Shri Shukadeva Goswami continued to speak at the request of Maharaja Parikshit. Kadachit, at that time, when Krishna was 3 months old, Autanika Kautuka Aplave, when Krishna was 3 or 4 months old, and his body was developing, he attempted to turn around. And this pleasing occasion was observed with a festival and bathing ceremony. Janmariksha Yoge. At that time, there was also a conjunction of the moon with the auspicious constellation Rohini. Samaveta Yoshitam. The ceremony was observed among the assembled women, a ceremony of mothers. Vaditra Gita, different varieties of music and singing. Dvija Mantra Vachakaihi, with chanting of Vedic hymns by qualified Brahmanas. Chakara, executed. Sunoho, of her son. Abhishechanam, the bathing ceremony. Sati, Mother Yashoda. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Bhai Arvinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. Shukadeva Goswami said, when Mother Yashoda's baby was slanting his body to attempt to rise and turn around, this attempt was observed by a Vedic ceremony. In such a ceremony called Utthana, which is performed when a child is due to leave the house for the first time, the child is properly bathed. Just after Krishna turned 3 months old, Mother Yashoda celebrated this ceremony with other women of the neighborhood. On that day, there was a conjunction of the moon with the constellation Rohini, as the Brahmanas joined by chanting Vedic hymns, and professional musicians also took part. This great ceremony was observed by Mother Yashoda. Can you repeat the translation? Shukadeva Goswami said, when Mother Yashoda's baby was slanting his body to attempt to rise and turn around, this attempt was observed by a Vedic ceremony. In such a ceremony called Utthana, which is performed when a child is due to leave the house for the first time, the child is properly bathed. Just after Krishna turned 3 months old, Mother Yashoda celebrated this ceremony with other women of the neighborhood. On that day, there was a conjunction of the moon with the constellation Rohini. As the Brahmanas joined by chanting Vedic hymns, and professional musicians also took part, this great ceremony was observed by Mother Yashoda. Purport: there is no question of overpopulation or of children's being a burden for their parents in a Vedic society. Such a society is so well organized and people are so advanced in spiritual consciousness that childbirth is never regarded as a burden or a botheration. The more a child grows, the more his parents become jubilant, and the child's attempts to turn over are also a source of jubilation. Even before the child is born, when the mother is pregnant, many recommended ritualistic ceremonies are performed. For example, when the child has been within the womb for 3 months and for 7 months, there is a ceremony the mother observes by eating with neighboring children. This ceremony is called Swada Bhakshana. Similarly, before the birth of the child, there is the Garbhadana ceremony. In Vedic civilization, childbirth or pregnancy is never regarded as a burden. Rather, it is a cause for jubilation. In contrast, people in modern civilization do not like pregnancy or childbirth, and when there's a child, they sometimes kill it. We can just consider how human society has fallen since the inauguration of Kali Yuga. Although people still claim to be civilized, at the present moment there is actually no human civilization, but only an assembly of two-legged animals. Thus ends the Bhakti purport and translation to Canto 10, Chapter 7, Text 4 of Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Ma Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. In the Bhagavad Gita, when Lord Krishna describes about 20 items of knowledge, one of the items of knowledge which Krishna described is Asaktir Anabhishvangaha Putradara Grihadishu. So one of the items of knowledge is detachment from wife, home, and rest. Prabhupada translates as non-attachment to children, wife, home, and the rest. Anabhishvangaha asaktihi to putra dara griha adishu. So one should not have attachment to wife, children, home, etc. How do we understand this statement of Lord Krishna? Because Varnashrama Dharma, there is Grihastha Ashrama. So Krishna only has spoken about Grihastha Ashrama. At the same time, Krishna is talking here to be detached from wife, children, because Grihastha life means wife and children and home. Brahmachari, all the three things are absent. No wife, consequently no children, consequently no home required. Under a thatched roof he can sleep, or underneath a tree he can put one gamcha, one chadar. That's why we carry a chadar with us. It is all-round purpose. We don't require umbrella also. Just take this. Rain is coming, just put like this. It is very hot also, you don't require umbrella, just put this. Oh, you go for puja service? Okay, remove your kurta, put the chadar like this. Go for puja service. So it's all-round purpose. The brahmacharya life is very simple. No major arrangements required. Brahmacharya requires, or a sannyasi, a renunciant requires only 3 pieces of cloth. That's what I was told when I was a student coming to the temple. You require only 3 pieces of cloth. The undergarment called the kaupina, then the dhoti, then kurta or chadar. One of them. That sounds so simple. Just 3 pieces of cloth. You don't require to stitch also. You don't require to stitch. Dhoti you don't require to stitch. Chadar you don't require to stitch. Kaupina you don't require to stitch. So no stitching business also. No tailor requirement. No big fabric industry required. Very simple life. So, therefore for a brahmachari or a sannyasi, there is no question of attachment or detachment because it doesn't exist anyway in the first place. Neither a wife is there, consequently no children, consequently you don't require a home and a big building and maintaining that, paying property tax and electricity tax, nothing required. It's carefree. So he has all the time for cultivating Krishna consciousness. But that cannot be told of a grahastha. So every ashrama have their own needs. So how can we say grahastha should be detached from wife, children, home? Then why did he become grahastha in the first place? Therefore, it is interesting to note, although Krishna says that one of the items of knowledge is non-attachment to children, wife, home and the rest. It doesn't end there. Home and the rest is a dot thing. That means jewelry, good costumes, cosmetics, good dresses, cars, and so on and so forth. That is why the word adi, proper translated as and the rest. That means it's a dot thing. It's a continuum in mathematical language. It is in continuum field. That means it is an endless list, dot. But in the purport, interestingly, Prabhupada says something very striking. This is 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, text number 10. You should read this. I read it many times. As for detachment from children, wife and home, it is not meant that one should have no feeling for these. See how Prabhupada says. Prabhupada says they are natural objects of affection. Exact words Prabhupada uses. The natural objects of affection. But when they are not favorable to Krishna consciousness, then one should not be attached to them. So that is the underlying meaning when Krishna said one should show non-attachment to wife, children and home. It means if they are not Krishna conscious or they are not supportive of Krishna consciousness, then you should be non-attached, See, again the word non-attached. But Krishna didn't say quit the home. If you are a grahastha, run away from home, take sannyas. As a grahastha, Krishna didn't say, see, mind the words, non-attachment. But Krishna didn't say quit the home. You have a duty to perform as a grahastha. Krishna Balaram Govinda Prabhupada says. The grahastha, he has got a duty to perform in taking care of the wife, children, whether they are Krishna conscious or they are not Krishna conscious. Still, he has to execute his duty of taking care of them in a detached manner, as a matter of duty. Not give up one's responsibility, at least till the age of 50. Pancho Shodvam Vanam Vrajet. The important point, because people misunderstand these statements of Bhagavad Gita. Oh, Krishna is saying detach, quit. That is for a brahmachari or a sannyasi. Not for a grahastha who is properly married and is following the Vedic system of grahastha ashrama. He never quits family. Nothing like divorce. And their natural objects of affection, which is actually a fact. So, Prabhupada says, one can make life at one's home very pleasant, and that scientific method of making one's home pleasant, that scientific method of making one's home pleasant is technically called Krishna consciousness. By the process of Krishna consciousness, one can make even one's home pleasant. And Prabhupada says, one need only do 4 things to keep the house in a pleasant state by the process of Krishna consciousness. Only 4 things a grahastha has to do, that's all. What is that? So Prabhupada says, first of all, one should gather the family members and train them. See, Prabhupada used the word train them. Train them to sit down morning and evening and chant Hare Krishna mantra together. That's the first thing. Then second thing, one should offer remnants of food to Lord Krishna, either as a deity or as a picture, in the picture form of the Lord. Offer foodstuffs to Krishna and accept the remnants of that foodstuff in the form of Krishna Prasadam. Number 3, Prabhupada says, one should gather the family members again and discuss or read Srimad Bhagavatam. That's what we are doing here. With this temple, but even for Grahastha also. They should read or hear Srimad Bhagavatam. Then lastly, one should worship the deity or picture of Krishna at home. That's all. Only 4 things one has to do. And Prabhupada says, if one can mold his family in this way to develop Krishna consciousness, following these 4 principles, then there is no need to change from family life to renounced life. See? Now let us come back to this verse. Therefore we see here, even in the case of Mother Yashoda, you can see so many interesting elements are there in a Grahastha's life. And this verse talks about some of the interesting elements concerning Vedic ceremonies called samskaras because of Krishna's arrival in Nanda Bhavan or in Gokula. So here we see how Mother Yashoda and the many ladies of Gokula, they celebrated Krishna's appearance, and after celebrating Krishna's appearance, the festival doesn't end with Krishna Janmashtami, which is technically called Krishna Janmashtami. Celebration doesn't end. Here it continues. When Krishna, here it is described, Kadachit, when the time arrived, Autanika Kautuka Aplave. when Krishna was about 3 to 4 months old, when a baby is 3 or 4 months old, then he attempts to turn around. And there is a celebration, a function celebrated at home called Utthana ceremony. Samskara. This is another samskara. So Mother Yashoda celebrated this ceremony. This is mostly a function of the ladies. There are function for both men and women. There are function for only women. All these things are very detailedly practiced and followed in the Vedic system. And this is the time, Utthana. After 3 or 4 months of the child's birth, the child first time leaves the home. First time leaves the home. The mother also, after giving birth to the child for the first 4 months, continues to remain in the maternity room. She doesn't come out after childbirth. Before the childbirth, the mother stays in maternity room. After the childbirth also 4 months she will remain there. After that she comes out first time. And that occasion along with the child, that occasion is celebrated as Utthana. And in this occasion the child is first of all bathed nicely and thoroughly. And incidentally, this particular day, there was a conjunction of the moon with the constellation Rohini once again. Krishna was born in Rohini Nakshatra. So again there was a constellation of the moon with Rohini Nakshatra. Janma Riksha, that's why Shukadeva Goswami used the word Janma Riksha Yoge. Janma Riksha means referring to the constellation of the star at the time of birth. So Janma Riksha Yoge. So the same constellation appeared at that time. Then Vaditra Gita. There was great chanting and songs. By whom? Dvija Mantravachakai. By great Brahmanas. So Brahmanas are to be called for many auspicious occasions or to make the whole atmosphere become auspicious. People think, what is the use of Brahmanas? We don't require Brahmanas in the society today. We can be away with the Brahmanas. No, you cannot be away. If you want auspiciousness, they bring in auspiciousness. But the Brahmanas must be ideal Brahmanas as described by Krishna and Bhagavad Gita. They're a symbol of purity. And anybody can be a Brahmana. It's nothing to do with birthright. Birthright. You can qualify to become a Brahmana. That's what Krishna has told in the Bhagavad Gita. Anybody can work and become qualified to become Brahmana by following the guidance given by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita 18th chapter or by Narada Muni in the 7th canto of Bhagavatam in his instructions to Yudhishthira Maharaj. So, these Brahmanas are needed for all auspicious occasions. The time of childbirth you require. And for all the samskaras you require. Sometimes it is said there are Shodasha samskara, 16 samskaras. Sometimes it is said there is Dasha with the samskara, 10 samskaras. So this Utthana is one of the samskaras, among the many samskaras. So the Brahmanas, it was a great celebration. Vaditra Gita, they joined by chanting Vedic hymns, and many professional musicians were called. Sometimes in ISKCON there is a comment, Prabhuji, why do you call professionals to sing, Prabhuji? Only devotees must sing. Because we give them also an opportunity to become devotees. Otherwise, how will you ever make different sections of the society into devotees? If only devotees remain devotees, the number will never expand. How do you recruit devotees from non-devotee community? How do you make devotees from different sections of the society. There are professionals, there are corporates, there are simple-minded people, there are theists, there are atheists, there are pious, there are impious people, not just devotees in human society. So how do you make them devotees? So professionals also have an opportunity to showcase their talent for the pleasure of Krishna. So here Prabhupada says, and professional musicians also took part. And this great ceremony was observed by Mother Yashoda in this way. So therefore, if the Grahastha life is conducted according to the Vedic standards, then it's perfectly all right. And in the Grahastha life, there is certainly great amount of joy. One of the great occasion of joy is childbirth. Yes, it is described. Giving birth to a child is a occasion of great joy and jubilation and considered auspicious. In fact, if a couple is not able to produce a child, it is considered inauspicious. Because of some unfortunate bad incidents of the past, they are not able to conceive a child. That is what is the understanding. So therefore, giving birth to a child is considered a great boon, great blessing. It is not easy to give birth to a child, by the by. Sometimes people try so much in the modern civilization, with modern advancement, somehow to give birth to a child. Naturally, doesn't happen. Sometimes by artificial means, medical means, still it does not happen. Can you imagine? But unfortunately, in the modern life, how people minimize childbirth, Prabhupada is lamenting in the purport. Not an easy thing to give birth to a child. One has to be blessed to have a child, either a boy or a girl. There are different purposes in either case. And it's a cause of great jubilation for the parents, especially the mother and father, and even the relatives, but especially the mother and father. So, Prabhupada says, every act of the child causes joy for the parents. We saw that even in the life of Ajamila, Prabhupada describes such a sinful person he was. Still, even he had some sentiments, some moments of joy. Even though he was extremely sinful, hard-hearted, very rude in his behavior, uncultured, uncivilized, killing people, murdering them, stealing their jewelry, threatening them, taking their money to maintain a prostitute. Still, this Ajamila had affection to his son, the 10th son named Narayana. So, you can just imagine then what to speak of a family or a parent who are highly cultured in the Vedic civilization. Prabhupada says, the more a child grows, the more his parents become jubilant. Every act of the child causes joy. When the child starts to speak some words, because he has not learned the alphabets, so he'll speak something, he'll speak, and still it causes joy. When the child crawls, it causes joy. Here Prabhupada says when the child is turning upside down also it's a source of jubilation. And there's a ceremony itself for that. Krishna turned upside down. Chalo, let's make a celebration now. It is a fact. Grahasthas can appreciate better. If you see the movements of the child, everything is very funny and keeps them engaged so nicely. Arjuna talks about this in the first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, where it is find out. I will not tell. So, when the mother is about 3 months and 7 months old, there is another ceremony. See, even before the childbirth, so many ceremonies. Even before the childbirth, there are 3 ceremonies. Concerning childbirth itself, there are 3 samskaras. Garbhadana samskara begins even before the conception of the child, before the union of the husband and wife. Then, once the child is conceived, yet to be born, the 3rd month and the 7th month, there are 2 ceremonies. And that is observed by the woman, the mother, the would-be mother. She's only a wife, she'll get promoted as mother later on. Becoming a mother is a special status in Vedic society. One is a girl, becomes a wife, but becoming a mother gains a special status for a woman in the Vedic society. So, when she is going to become mother of a child, in the 3rd month and the 7th month, there's a ceremony called Swada Bhakshana, wherein this mother eats prasadam with the other neighboring woman and children also, because she's going to get a child very soon. This is a ceremony called Swada Bhakshana. Prabhupada quotes that. So, unfortunately today, childbirth is taken as a great burden or botheration or overpopulation, and therefore there is family planning. That means killing the child also. It's extremely sinful. But here we see so much joy is there, fun is there, light moments are there because of the presence of the child. Everyone has experienced. Every act of the child, especially in childhood, is very, very attractive. And we can see that because we can see the same sentiments present between Mother Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj and child Krishna. Whatever is in the spiritual world is reflected in the material world. Same experiences are reflected in the material world. Anyway, so therefore one should not reject family life as far as the grahastha is concerned, and one should not reject children or neglect children. It's greatly sinful. One should take care of children very nicely. In fact, it is described in the scriptures, putrarthe kriyate bharyaha. The very purpose of bharya, putra arthe, is for the purpose of giving birth to a child who can take part in Krishna consciousness or Varnashtama dharma. Putra arthe kriyate bharya. You don't want a child, then there's no need of marriage. Sometimes people ask, Prabhu, should I marry or not? Suppose somebody asks. It's not our subject anyway. But somebody asks, should I marry or not? What are the criteria for marriage? If you want a child, then you marry. Don't want a child, there's no need to marry. Somebody may say, why should I give birth to a child? Like somebody said, okay, I will marry, but I don't need children, Prabhu. All very complex thinking, basically. Such kind of thinking is not there in the Vedic civilization. Nobody asks such kind of weird questions. Should I marry? Yesterday somebody came to my office. Should I marry, Prabhu? First of all, asking the wrong person. So but anyway, still we have to guide because we are preachers. So nothing wrong. They have a lot of faith that we will give the correct guidance. So then I said, if you want to marry or not, if you ask the question, you have to marry. If you're not going to be a brahmachari, as far as the boy is concerned, as far as the girl is concerned, there's no question of brahmacharini. She has to marry. There's nothing like brahmacharini in the Vedic system or a sannyasini in the Vedic system. No, it doesn't exist. A boy may become a brahmachari, but if he wants, he can become grahastha. But a girl, there's no question of brahmacharini remaining alone. No, the Vedic system does not permit. And we are, I explained this yesterday, we are Vedic followers, followers of Lord Krishna. If I profess to be a devotee of Krishna, I should follow whatever Krishna says. So as far as a girl is concerned, she has to marry. Anyway, so there's no escaping marriage for a girl. Then the idea is to populate the world with Krishna conscious children. Otherwise, there are so many non-Krishna conscious children populating and creating disturbance in the society, and the peace of the human society is lost. And when peace is lost, you cannot prosecute Krishna consciousness. When you're disturbed, you cannot practice spiritual life. You cannot chant peacefully. We know that we have experienced, even as devotees. And what to speak of outsiders? As it is, they are battered by Maya. And further to that, there are people causing a lot of disturbance. It's very difficult for them. Therefore, there must be overall peace, even material peace in human society for prosecuting Krishna consciousness. For which, who is the cause of peace? Human beings only. Who is a human being? The child only. Tomorrow he grows. The disturbances of a child is different from the disturbances of an elderly person. Child's disturbances are very sweet, very enjoyable, causes jubilation. But elders' disturbances does not cause jubilation, causes misery. So therefore, they have to be trained properly. So you have to produce Krishna conscious children, not just children. Because Shastras say everybody, every living entity is producing children. Every animal is producing children. So what is glorious? The glory is to produce a Krishna conscious child, whether male or female, that doesn't matter. And then somebody may say, no, I don't want a child. First of all, I don't want to marry. And secondly, if I marry, I don't want a child. No. What is the benefit, Prabhu? The benefit is that Putra Pinda Prayojanam. Who will offer Pinda to you? Who will offer Pinda to you if you don't have a child? Suppose if we go to hell by our deeds, who is going to liberate us? I have already gone. So I cannot do any ritual to do prayashchitta. Then who is going to do that for me? To save me from the hellish life? My child must do. Therefore, recover a child. Putra Pinda Prayojanam. Recover a son. Putra Pinda Prayojanam. It will save you from going to the... If at all there is a reason for going to the hell called Pun. Pun Nama Narake Trayate Iti Putraha. For everything there is a definition in the Veda. Pun Nama Narake Trayate Iti Putraha. Trayate means to relieve. Pun Nama Naraka. There is a hell called Pun. And for some right reasons for performing wrong deeds, if the father is going to hell, called Pun, then the son can save him from going to hell by offering Vishnu Prasadam called Pinda. Pinda Dana. Vishnu Prasadam. Pinda is actually Vishnu Prasada. So you offer Vishnu Prasada to the departed soul, he'll be relieved from sinful reactions. Like that. So as per the Vedic system, one need not quit family life, especially as a grahastha. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also indicated this and quoted this verse of Bhagavatam many times. Jnane prayasam udapasya namanta eva jivanti sat mukaritam bhavadiya vartam sthane stitaha shrutigatam tanuman manobhihi ye prayasho ajito jitaha apitais trilokyam. I'll explain this verse little and then I'll close. It's a very interesting verse. Prabhupada also has quoted this many times. The important verse is Sthane Sthita Shrutigatam Tanuman Manobhihi. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is recommended One need not quit family life for prosecuting Krishna consciousness. Because Prabhupada says in Kali Yuga, generally people are not trained in detachment and vairagya. The overall population. Now, those who become devotees in the Krishna consciousness movement, they may be an exception. There is always an exception to the rule. But by and large, for the mass of people, it may not be possible for them to remain away from family. And it is not recommended. It is not recommended. So better one remain in family life and execute or prosecute Krishna consciousness. That is the general recommendation. If one quits family life abruptly, immaturely, he will not make advancement in spiritual life. Because he has not developed vairagya or detachment from material things, from material family, from materialistic things, materialistic goals. He has not developed detachment. He has not learned the art of vairagya. Then he will miserably fail. Even if he quits his family abruptly and takes sannyas or vanaprastha, he will fail miserably. And on the other hand, he has become irresponsible by quitting the family without making proper and suitable arrangements for the family members. The varnashrama, even when the grahastha quits the family, he makes all proper arrangements. There's a perfect cycle and perfect loop is there. There'll be a grown-up son who will take care of the mother. Or the relatives will be there. Suppose there is no son, only daughter. Then the wife's brother will be there. Or even if it is not there, then the wife will go back to the parents' home. Or there'll be brothers or relatives. Some arrangement is being made. But today people simply irresponsibly just imitate without understanding the entire science of this varnashrama. Be it brahmacharya, be it grahastha, they don't understand anything properly. Immaturely or very wrongly apply these principles. So that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, it is better advised for people in Kali Yuga not to quit family life. Prabhupada also says that. There's no need of vanaprastha and sannyas ashram for grahasthas in Kali Yuga. Because they are not trained. They cannot succeed. So, therefore Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, seeing the condition of Kali Yuga people, better they remain in family life, but tanuvan manobihi sad mukaritham bhavadiya vartam. Live with family happily, comfortably. Make Krishna the central pivot in your family life, the central person, the central object of affection, love, goal of the family, and then live with the family. There's no problem. So, it is not that you will not go back to Godhead by being in family. No, you will go back to Godhead even by being in family if Krishna is the central personality in your family. So there are very interesting things the Acharya has explained, that three words are used by Lord Brahma. Actually, this is a verse by Lord Brahma to Lord Krishna after the Brahma Vimohana Leela. These are called confession prayers. So, because Brahma confessed his offense to Lord Krishna, so confession prayers. So he said, three things. Tanu vak manobihi. One should offer one's body, mind and words to Lord Krishna. Then the unconquerable Lord becomes conquered. So Prabhupada says in the purport, the word Jivanti is used by Brahma to indicate that the devotees of the Lord very easily will go back to Godhead. Even if he cannot do anything except maintain his existence, but simply save all the time to hear topics of Krishna. He may not be any great person in the material estimation. He may not be very capable except maintain his existence. But even such a devotee will go back to Godhead. On the other hand, there is another word used called Udapasya. He'll go back to Godhead, he'll understand Godhead perfectly and remain with Godhead. That is the devotee, Jivanti, indicated by the word Jivanti. On the other hand, Udapasya, one should not even attempt to endeavor to understand God or associate with God through the process of mental speculation. So mental speculation is completely discouraged by the use of the word Udapasya. Srila Sanatana Goswami has explained the words Tanuvan Manobihi in 3 ways. Prabhupada explains, quoting the Acharyas. In context with the devotees, how is this Tanuvan Manobihi applied? He says that through the body, mind and words, the devotees are able to conquer Lord Krishna. How do they do that? With their body, they're able to, meaning, say suppose hands. Hand is part of the body. With the hands, you can touch the very lotus feet of Krishna with your hand. Let the pujaris do that when they go to the altar. So therefore, it's a privilege to be second initiated or become a Brahmana. You touch the lotus feet, the very lotus feet of Krishna. Very special. You can touch his lotus feet with your very hands. That's the body, Tanu. Then Vak. As far as words are concerned, you can call Krishna. Krishna, come to me. Come with me. Come to me, come with me. And as far as the mind is concerned, he says, you can have direct audience of the Lord within your mind simply by thinking about him. In this way, you're able to conquer Krishna. In the case of non-devotees, the word Ajita is used. They can never conquer the Lord through any of these 3 ways. Neither through body, mind and words. Krishna remains unconquerable to them ever. That means to their bodily strength, to their verbal expertise, vocabulary, the prowess of their vocabulary, or their mental power, they cannot conquer Krishna. They cannot. On the other hand, the word Jitaha is used for the devotees. Ajita is for the non-devotee. They cannot conquer the Lord through body or mind or words. But the devotees, the word Jitaha is used. They can conquer the Lord through body, mind and words. How? Because actually they have already conquered, not will conquer. They have conquered the Lord through their body, mind and words. Therefore the word Jitaha is used in that verse. How did they conquer the Lord? Krishna is always by the side of the devotees. That means they conquer the Lord through his body. Then, how did they conquer the Lord? Through their words. Krishna always talks about devotees and their glories. Then, how did the devotee conquer Krishna? Through his mind. Because Krishna is always thinking of his devotees in his mind. In this way, the devotees conquer the Lord through his body, mind and words. Then, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Prabhupada explains, this words Tanuvan Manobi in regard to the one Namantaha, which is used in the verse. Udapasya Namanta Eva. Namantaha. Namanta means offering obeisances. So he says, how do we apply this? How do we take advantage of this word Namanta? Devotees take full advantage of the transcendental topics of the Lord by offering all respects to the topics of the Lord with their body, mind and words. So Tanuvan Manobhi applied with the word Namanta. How do they do that? That is why he says that one should engage his body by touching the ground with his hands and head while offering obeisances to the topics of the Lord. That's why you see, we do this actually. Touching our head, the topics of the Lord or the book of the Lord. People think, why are we doing this? So there is a, Shastric injunction in this regard to conquer the Lord through the physical touch. So, the body by touching the ground, therefore you offer obeisances, namantaha. And your head by offering obeisances either to the Lord, by putting your head to the ground, or even touching the sacred paraphernalia. the book of the Lord, anything. Especially the topics of the Lord or the book of the Lord. Then one should engage his words by vak, praising transcendental literature such as Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. So you offer obeisances. Namantaha. How do you apply namantaha? As far as Tanuman Manobi is concerned, by offering praise of the Supreme Lord and his devotees. So the tongue should be used to glorify about Krishna or Krishna's devotees, Vaishnavas. Then, as far as the mind is concerned, by feeling great reverence and pleasure while hearing the transcendental topics of the Lord. In this way, one is able to completely conquer the Lord. So then one does not have to change his social status. Yet go back to Godhead. So anyway, so here we see how Mother Yashoda enjoyed all these ceremonies of Krishna's appearance. Then Krishna's Namakarana, Krishna's Uthana ceremony, the 3rd month, the 7th month, Swada Bhakshana ceremony, and they remained in transcendental bliss. Unfortunately, people do not know, not knowing this kind of joy, even in family life, in bringing up children in Krishna consciousness, they are attempting to kill children, and therefore how unfortunate they are and how they are not civilized is what the Acharyas are lamenting. I'll stop here. Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Prabhupada ki jai.